Culture. I think culture in relationship to my role in project management or other roles, that design or whatever they might be, in remote Australia have to do with respect. I mean, I have to respect tradition, their culture, to ask questions about things that I might or might not be able to do, things that the tradesperson might or might not be able to do, where we can and can't go. Also, I would ask them to, for one of the senior people or one of the TOs to have a cultural awareness for the team coming in so they understand what that local culture is, and have the men, when they finish this cultural awareness training, which might be 1 day, it might be 2 days or 3 days. It has been as many as 5 days. And obviously I would engage this person, they would be paid for this. And at the end, I would have the tradespeople signing off on this so they acknowledged that they had this training and so they knew what was right or wrong. And that all comes from the point of view that in the past I've had problems because they had the training, but then they didn't acknowledge what they were taught. And so I think, so it's about respect for me, I believe. They need someone to support them. They need a local, or they need someone who understands that the local traditions, customs, culture, and so forth to help support them. I mean, I think also they got to understand that it's not just Aboriginal people, but many people look at a floor plan and they have no idea what that is. And so you have to learn to communicate. And sometimes communicating is very difficult. They have to understand that a lot of the language that they've learned at university has no place in remote communities. These people are definitely, and I'm not saying they're not stupid, they're very intelligent people, but maybe they never heard the words, they don't quite understand what you're saying. There's a bit of language problems, so therefore we need to drop it right down, make it very basic, and when we have a particular technical word or something that we want to discuss or talk about, we need to really sort of dumb it down. And then once they understand what you're trying to talk about, then you can introduce this technical word, and they understand that and they'll remember that as you go along. So, and finally, I think I need to say along those lines is that the students got to understand that sometimes you go to do a job, you booked your flights for 1 day, you're arriving there the next day, you got your flights booked for the following day because you got a 2-hour meeting and you're out of there. The problem is that when you front up there, you have no idea. I mean, you might have to spend a week or 2 weeks. You might have to make 6 or 7 or 10 trips. You might show up there and they might be off turtling or fishing or whatever. So you have to be very adaptable to the situation. Not get angry, not get upset, but just realize that's the way things is. It's very slow, and sometimes it takes a long time. But if you try hard, identify with somebody locally, try to work with them, and keep it slow and easy, you'll be successful. In the end, you'll be successful. Understanding what they can or can't do. I mean, I think sometimes it may be involvement with the tradespeople themselves, engaging with the community or with members of that community that they shouldn't be engaging with, or doing things that they don't mean to do anything wrong, but they may say things or do things. So the tradesmen and the people working on the ground, including myself, we have to know what we can and can't do. Maybe I could give an example about how things can go wrong. And without trying to identify a particular mob location or whatever it is in Australia, so we'll just leave it at that. But what happened basically was that, as I'd said, we fronted up at the community and said, okay, we're here to deliver a particular project. I sat with the traditional owners there for 3 days. We talked about things. They went off, had coffee, sit around, talked about it among themselves, came back. We communicated. They went off, they came back. We had food, drink, and so we spent 3 days doing this. In the end, the TOs sort of acknowledged the fact that yes, we were going to deliver this project, that they were quite happy with me, if you have it, being in charge in the project management role of this particular project, and that we should go forward. And so I went away and came back and brought with me the builder. The builder and I sat down with this group, so I had now already formed a relationship with these traditional owners. We sit down with this group and I introduced the builder and said, right, he's here to do whatever. I said, the builder will now sort of tell you his progress schedule. We anticipate that the builder's going to be on the ground about 3 months. He will need a site location, which we will agree with. He will need facilities and so forth and so on. And so during that conversation, which only lasted for 1 day, but everybody was happy with a 1 full day conversation, one of the TOs said that it was quite possible for the builder and his men to use the local ablution facility, so toilets and showers and so forth. So that was fantastic. So that meant that the builder didn't need to bring in a transportable with his own showers and toilets and things that could use that ablution block. And so that's fine, so we go away. So a period of time moves, and I then speak to the TO on the phone and say, okay, well, the builder is arriving tomorrow. Now, I was not there when the builder arrived. So the builder arrives, but they acknowledged the builder and they knew who he was. We had a designated spot for them to set up their camp, which they did. And what happened then was that one of the tradesmen needed to use the toilet. And so he went to the ablution block, and the ablution block was locked. And so being a good builder, a good tradie, and you're traveling in a remote community, they had a portable toilet with them. Okay, now, what we had also agreed on was the fact that when they arrived and set up their camp, that they would have a 3-day cultural awareness training program, which was all set to go. So the tradie goes off to the toilet's locked, so he comes back, and as I said, they have, good builder, they got their own portable toilet. They pull their portable toilet out, which was basically just around a 44-gallon, 200-liter drum cut in half with a toilet seat on top, and that was their portable toilet. So he looks across the paddock there and says, oh yes, over there, I'll put it over there by that tree, because no one will see me over there at that tree. So the tradesman goes off, and so he, as a tradie, he takes a hammer, nails a piece of wire into this tree, puts a toilet roll on this piece of wire, puts the drum down, they dig that in a little bit, does his business, and comes back. Okay, well, that was fine. No one said anything. But what happened was the fact that what no one knew was that that was a particular cultural sacred site, which no one was supposed to go there or be there or touch anything. So you can imagine when the TOs seen this toilet at this tree, all hell broke loose. And it was an extremely sensitive situation. And here we are, we were here to do this positive thing, deliver a project, but we had this cultural thing involvement now. And so we had to do so much work in explaining now, how do I, as the project manager, explain to the TOs that these fellows had broke every promise. I had lost face. I no longer had their respect. For all they knew, I told them that it was okay. It was a terrible, terrible situation. And so I'm just trying to make the point here that culture, you know, it is so critical. And people just don't realize. So it might not be a tree, it might be a rock, it might be a little bit of ground, it might be whatever. I mean, we got to know what we're doing. So, you know, cultural respect is just everything.